Let's remind everybody what you're doing now, because as I say, they associate your name with a storied career on Wall Street, Rockefeller Capital Management. You've got the legacy business of Rockefeller and Company, but you're doing more. Explain.
Yes, at Rockefeller Capital Management, Eric, the core of what we're doing is wealth management for ultra high net worth and high net worth individuals and families. So high-end wealth management. We do it through Rockefeller's Global Family Office. And then within Rockefeller's Global Family Office, we have a private wealth management division, and we have a multifamily office. The private wealth management division leads a little bit more with the investment focus, and the multifamily office is more planning-led. And we announced today a new president of that multifamily office, Tim O'Hara, who has had a long career in that space.
Whom you hired from Goldman Sachs.
Yes, ACO and then Goldman Sachs. Our clients get the same products and services whether they're in the private wealth side of our Global Family Office or the multifamily office side. So the multifamily office is a little bit more planning-led, the other side is a little bit more investment-led, but you get asset allocation, investment advice, liability advice, trust, generational planning. We're trying to bring a full set of services to our clients.
Why is there an opportunity here? Because JP Morgan does a pretty good job offering these services. Goldman Sachs does a pretty good job offering these services. Morgan Stanley is certainly chasing the high net worth individual. So is UBS, and the list goes on.
It's a very competed space. Having said that, a firm that's focused really exclusively on that. We also have an asset management business, but that's more focused on institutions and intermediaries. We have an investment banking business we call Rockefeller Strategic Advisory. We have that capability in part because some of these high-end families own businesses and they want the strategic advice. But my point in terms of our competitive advantage, we're really focused on the space. This is what we do. And we're also focused on these clients, on the high-end clients, on the wealthy clients who have generational planning, who have discussions with children about wealth, who might own a business and want advice on the business. And if you're really exclusively focused on that, then we think that provides a competitive advantage, a nimbleness that other firms can't provide. So we like our competitive positioning.
I suspect that a majority of the people watching this conversation think of a family office as the private investment operation of a former hedge fund titan, like a Stanley Druckenmiller, say, or a Julian Robertson. What's a better way of thinking about that term? Because, no offense intended, but those guys don't need your help.
In reality, those guys may not need the help on the investment side, but one of the things that we're doing is we're providing comprehensive advice, including generational advice. And those guys and almost anybody who's created wealth, particularly in the first generation or over generations, needs advice on how to talk to children about wealth, how to try to plan for multiple generations being part of the wealth. So there's a lot you can do, even if somebody's investment savvy, to provide advice to those clients. The other thing, a family office tends to be maybe just the one family or focused on a constrained amount of wealth. What we're doing is trying to create the capability to provide advice to really a network of high-end American families across the whole country. We're opening offices in other wealth centers. So over time, when we've reached more scale on the private wealth side and on the multifamily office side, we can end up providing advice to a whole series of families in this country who have wealth and want to preserve that wealth and transfer that wealth in key wealth centers across the nation.
Greg, a big focus for you is sustainability and ESG, and I have to wonder, and I think others do as well, is that really a big deal for old money?
It's a big deal for everybody today. And actually, you and I are raising the millennials and the next generation who care about it in such a way that we think it's really, to use the consultant's word, it's a secular trend here and around the world. Institutions, individuals, people with money from older generations, and in particular the newer generations, they care how that money is put to work. They care about the world in which we operate. This
is more about transgenerational wealth than it is about, so to speak, the old folks.
Yeah, but even I don't want it to. Money that's been around for a while is still also focused on this space, and this is where you see people like Larry Fink in his letter every year now, talking about how companies have a broader obligation in society than just generating shareholder value. The notion that the private sector should be operating within the society in which we live in a productive, constructive way, investing in a productive, constructive way. These are notions, Eric, that are pretty broadly followed today, and I believe as the millennials get older, my children and yours, will be standard fare in an organization like Rockefeller Capital Management.
What you've described is, I could summarize with the term planning for the future. That's what you help your clients do.
Yes.
Are you at the point where you're helping them plan for the kind of future that Howard Marks described in his most recent memo, a future of anti-capitalist sentiment, a future of progressive ideals, and a resentment of the elites?
Look, in the final analysis, I remain an optimist on this country and where we are and where we're going. And Eric, you and I were there doing discussions like this during the credit crisis. And come out of that credit crisis, we lost 700,000 jobs in January of 2009 in the United States. And look at the recovery over the 10 years now and how well this economy is doing. I think in the final analysis, Americans will balance a focus on growth and the benefits of a strong economy for everybody. I do think we need to, as a nation, focus on economic and wealth imbalance. And we have to make sure everybody's coming along for the ride and they feel like they have their fair chance.
You probably saw that Andrew Cuomo, the governor, said the other day that the top 1% of New York State residents account for 46% of the tax revenue, an amazing figure. What do you think your clients would do if New York State did what New Jersey and Connecticut have done, which is to say raise the top marginal tax rate?
Well, I think that it's been shown in state after state that you get into this aggressive competition around higher income people becoming residents. So states that don't have state income taxes are trying to attract them, and places in the Sun Belt, Florida, and then states like New Jersey and Connecticut and these northeastern states trying to figure out how to create balanced budgets and at the same time not send these people away. So, crafting that middle ground is very important because in the final analysis, a vibrant private sector is critical for the country, for every state, and this has been proven again and again. Having said that, the things that Howard's talking about and the imbalance from a wealth standpoint in our society, we do need to address that.
Well, you built a career as an investment banker first before you became an executive and ultimately a CEO. So if you were trying to think of the right deal, what's the deal that balances the needs of the have-nots with the realities of the haves?
The deal is that we as a country invest in some of the things that enable the people who are less well off to develop the skill sets to compete and to succeed and to feel like if they work hard, they can get there. So that's investments in education and in community colleges and in job training and making sure that people don't get to a young age, 18 or 20, and wonder how is this working for me. We have to make sure, but that's different than saying we're going to create a way for you to feel okay, but not to know that you can strive and succeed. So it's important that it gets down to the individual and the individual's opportunity to succeed in our society. That instinct, that belief that I too can get there is what's driven the country all the way to this point, and I think I'm optimistic on going forward.